Gina at the Library Mouse, and welcome to my vlog. This one I'm going to focus more on books and reading, more than I usually do when I do a vlog. So first things first is I went to the library the other day and I have a bit of a library haul for you. So let's go find my library books and I'll share what I got from the library. So it is a working weekend too for me. So yeah, I was outside working. I like to get out early in the morning and get like yard work done because I'm like a child outside. I don't know what it is about me, and I need to remember to put some kind of bug off on, but I'm just bit up everywhere, and that happens every time I work in the yard. Besides poison ivy, bug bites, you name it, I wind up like itching everywhere. So I try to get out earlier in the morning. Anyway, also, I got my Queen shirt on because this past fall, my girlfriends and I actually went into New York City to Madison Square Garden to see Queen with Adam Lambert. Now, obviously, it's not the same as seeing Queen with Freddie Mercury, but I had never been to Madison Square Garden before. It was amazing. It was such an amazing show. And for that weekend, New York City was amazing too, but that's a tale for another day. Anyway, so I got a few more books this time. Let me jump into it. So this book is called The Music of Bees by Eileen Garvin. I had never heard this book before. I'd never heard of Eileen Garvin before. And basically, it looks like it focuses on three people. So there is a 44-year-old Alice Holtzman who is stuck in a dead-end job. She is facing or dealing with the sudden death of her husband, and she starts having panic attacks. And she raises honeybees in her spare time. So the other person in the book is Jake. He is a troubled teenager. He's a paraplegic, and she kind of bumps into him while carrying 120,000 honeybees in the back of her truck. And she invites him to her farm. I'm sure there's some kind of backstory about why a strange woman would invite a teenager to her farm and how that all transpires. And then there's also Harry. He's a 24-year-old with debilitating social anxiety who is desperate for work. So he answers the ad for a part-time job at this honeybee farm. So what attracted me to this book was the focus on anxiety, because I'm an anxious person and I just think it sounds like it's going to be interesting. It's the unlikely trio must unite for the sake of the bees, and in the process they just forge a new future for themselves. So it sounds like a really good book. I've just started it, and this is another one where, in almost all the books that I've read recently, it is a multiple person viewpoint. Like there's a chapter, Jake's the star of one chapter, and then the next chapter is Alice. So sometimes I like that. I feel like I'm kind of getting burned out on that. I would like a really deep dive into one character, but this book sounded really good. So the second book that I have is a beach read. I love a beach read, and usually I love Dorothea, Benton, Franke. This one is called Same Beach Next Year. It reminded me of that old movie, Same Time Next Year. And then I got it out without really reading the blurb, and I don't know if it's a little cheesy because the main characters are named Adam and Eve. I don't like those kind of gimmicks, so I don't know. So it's one summer, two couples meet. They begin a 20-year friendship on the Isle of Palms. I love reading books that take place on beachy towns. The Outer Banks, Charleston, Nantucket. Now, if it's on a beach, I like to read it in the summer. So there's Adam and Eve. They used to be sweethearts, and then their spouses. Well, their spouses start to like be flirty, which kind of bothers Adam and Eve. And every year they come back to the Isle of Palms to this specific condo development, and they're building a friendship that will withstand family tragedy and devastating heartbreak. The devotion and love they share will help them weather the vagaries of time and enrich their lives as circumstances change. Their children grow up and leave home, and their twilight years approach. What do I like generally about books like that? I love seeing characters through the years. Like that is one of my favorite type of book plot to read, is like through the years of one character. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But this is definitely a book that I am reading by my pool. Oopsie. Guess we'll be cutting that out. Or maybe not. So the next book that I got is a book by Katherine, and it is called What You Wish For. She is a New York Times bestselling author of How to Walk Away and Things You Save in a Fire. I have not read any of those. It sounded really good. So it's about Samantha Casey. She's a school librarian. She loves her job. And then we have Duncan Carpenter, who is the new principal at her school, living by rules and regulations. But he wasn't always that way, because Samantha knew him at another school in a different life. Back then, she loved him, but she was invisible to him, to everyone, and even to herself. She escaped to a new school, a new job, and a new chance of living. But then Duncan gets hired at her school as the principal. Although it feels like the worst thing that could possibly happen to Sam, of course, if you're trying to get away and change who you are, the last thing you want is someone from your past to show up. But she feels like it's the best possible thing that could happen to the school, because he's a good principal. Until the opposite turns out to be true. The lovable Duncan she had known is now a suit and tie wearing, rule enforcing tough guy, bent on protecting the school that he's willing, so hell-bent on protecting the school he's willing to destroy it. So supposedly chaos and danger begin to loom from all four corners, and Sam and Duncan must find their way to who they really are. Sounds really interesting. I like books about women who are brave enough to no, I need to change. I want to change. And so this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm hoping that this is a really strong female character. So it's What You Wish For. I did get a memoir, Prairie Tale by Melissa Gilbert. I had read Back to the Prairie by her this past year. It was very good. And this is more, if you're a Little House on the Prairie fan, which I was, we're the same age. And I remember when Little House on the Prairie became a show. But before that, I mean, my sister and I loved the Little House on the Prairie series. We watched it we read them all the time. So when we were going to get a show about it, we were super excited. She was not always my favorite actress. I think I connected more with Mary because Mary was the kind of person that I was. But as an adult, I have really enjoyed Melissa Gilbert, and so I have this. Plus, it has, it has good photos in it, which I love. I have one more book. This book, one of my interests, something that intrigues me, that I talk about with my husband all the time. Like, let's buy a piece of land and put a tiny house on it for a vacation spot, just a little getaway spot. I really like the concept of tiny living. I don't think I could do it full time because I don't think I'd want to be that close to somebody that I live with 24/7. I like to be able to spread out, but the efficiency that these homes are built with, and how cute and how tiny they are, because I love little mini things. I love little tiny things. Houses are no different. I'd much rather look at a show that shows me tiny homes than mansions. Who needs that much space? So I have this book called Tiny House Living. This is not a book that I'm going to be finishing. It's a book that I like to just go through and look at the pictures because it shows, and I like the way they've done it. They've focused on a particular person and their tiny home, and then kind of interviewed them about why they went tiny, what their house is like, tips for building your own tiny house, or what you should consider when you are building one. They talk about, look at how pretty that is. I mean, come on. They're just so cute, and they're just, the use of space just amazes me. And it does make you stop and think, do I really need everything that I have? I love this. Wouldn't you just want to snuggle up there? And I think they're the perfect vacation homes. My husband and I went on a little mini vacation. We went and we did a hike at a state park, Watkins Glen, and we went to Farm Sanctuary, and then we vacationed in a tiny house that was on a vegan-run property. So you could either stay in the bunkhouse, or you could rent for the night one of 3 tiny houses that were on a lake. It was really, really nice. I couldn't do it full time. I know I couldn't, but I could definitely do it as a vacation home. Look how pretty that is. That just speaks to me so much. So anyway, this book I'm just going to read and look at and drool over in my spare time. Those are my library books. So I'll be checking back in with you with what I am reading, and take you along with me for some not bookish things, but I'm really going to try to focus on books and reading and libraries and things like that in this vlog. So here we go. Part of summer is sitting out on my deck amid, lollipers and potting boxes, and just looking at my collection of magazines. And I have a million, and this is why I saved them, because I just like to bring them out here, and instead of reading, I just like to look at the pictures. But it is a beautiful day. I have my giant salad. Yeah, so going to enjoy a nice quiet dinner. Okay, it is now morning It's Tuesday morning. I can't remember when I started this vlog, but yesterday was a very, very hot day, which wound up having a thunderstorm. We're supposed to get, I guess the heat index is supposed to be 100 today. I'll probably be spending a lot of time in the pool. I work this morning from home, and I'm kind of waiting around because a friend of mine is trying to get a job at the sheriff's department, and so the investigator has to come and interview all of her references. So I'm just kind of waiting. Hopefully they don't come when I'm working. But I did spend a lot of time in the pool yesterday, and then I came in and finished. Did I put it in here? Oh, it's over here. This book, well, I'm almost finished with it. The Music of Bees. So I'm almost done with this one. It's very, very good. I would definitely recommend this book, and I would recommend the author. So the author is Eileen Garvin, and I don't recall ever reading anything else she has done. She is a bookkeeper and a writer living in Hood River, Oregon, which is where the story takes place. She does have a memoir, which was How to Be a Sister, and The Music of Bees is her debut novel. I mean, it's not new. That so I'm going to look up and see if she has written any other books. This was written, okay, it's not old. This was written in 2021. So maybe she has another book out by now, but it's definitely very, very good. It really focuses on being introverted, being an outcast, not knowing what you want to do with your life, having second chances, grief, throws in some environmentalism. The only thing I do have to say is there is a lot of technical writing about bees and beekeeping. And so some of that, I mean, you could tell she's a beekeeper. Some of it went right over my head. And so I kind of skimmed those parts. But it was a really, really good book. Happy ending all around, which those are the kind of books I like, realistic or not. These guys always have to jump up here and look out the window. I'm going to go out and do a little bit of yard work really quick before I have to start work, and I'll catch y'all later. So in the beginning of my first part of this video, I was talking about how I get bit and scratched up, and I come in looking like I've been through a war. So I bought these on Amazon to help with that. They're gardening sleeves. Aren't they pretty? They're very lightweight, and you put them on and you pull them up over your arms. I'll show you in a second. So this is what they look like. They're really lightweight, which I like. And they're really pretty. And I can read and hopefully not get, full of poison ivy and everything now. But when I bought these, I thought they were blue. But they're purple, but they're really pretty. So yeah, so I'm going to go outside and walk around and see what I need to do really quick before I need to come back into work. Okay, spent quite a few hours in the pool today trying to read the Dorothea, Benton, Franke book that I had shared previously. I'm having a really hard time. I think this is going to be a did not finish book. I don't think I want to waste any more time on it. I don't love the writing, and I don't like the way it's written. So it's a multiple viewpoint book. well, as of right now, it's just the main married couple, Adam and Eliza. But they alternate chapters, and the chapter's told in first person. So it's like one person is telling the audience the story, and they do treat it as if they're telling you a story. And then the next person tells you like their version of what's going on. And I don't know, I'm having a really hard time getting into it. So I think that I'm going to be starting this book by Katherine, What You Wish For. I'm trying to get my library books done. So I'm reading, I'll start this, plus I'm reading Prairie Tale. It's the memoir of Melissa Gilbert. I usually don't just read a memoir straight through. Usually I'm a person that reads multiple books at the same time. I've been trying to do that less, but I find like with a memoir, I usually want to go between a memoir and a fiction book, or like a nonfiction, like some other kind of nonfiction book with a fiction book, and have them going on at the same time, so that depending on my mood, I have a book to read. So this is what's coming up next. So I'm going to sit here and do some reading. Okay, I think that this is going to be my last video for my reading vlog, because guess what? I finished What You Wish For by Katherine. It was such a good book. I really, really enjoyed that book, and I am definitely going to check out some of her other books that I haven't read. So out of my library books for the month, for the 2 weeks that I got them, I am still reading Prairie Tale. It's a memoir. Memoirs go slower for me. This is a not this one. There's another book in here. The Dorothea Benton Franke book is going to be a did not finish, which I have no regrets not finishing that book. Obviously, this is not a book that I am reading. I'm just enjoying looking at it. So I'm really on a roll for hitting my goal, and next week I'm going to be vlogging from the beautiful Thousand Islands with my friend Lynn from My Little Rural Homestead, and hopefully she'll be blogging too, or vlogging. So I'm not sure what I'm going to read next. I do have some TBRs right here in my house, but I need to find them. So on a roll for June. Hopefully you enjoyed this somewhat life book vlog and helped to get to know me a little bit better. And I will see you on my next video.